Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called The Pros and Cons of Living in Norway. Is Norwegian life good or bad? I mean, from everything I've learned so far, it seems like generally life is great. The country's very well run. Something I'm very envious of, being from the UK. Like, I think Norway's just like an almost perfect country in how it's run. But really interested to know the pros and cons of living in Norway. You can tell me, in your opinion, the pros and cons also. Is Norwegian life good or bad in your opinion? Let's watch.
Okay. Another important thing, alcohol consumption with Ferrari does feel really fresh. Hi guys, my name is Anna. Welcome to my channel. I'm currently living in Norway, and in today's video I will tell you the whole truth. Not just how perfect and ideal Norway is, but also I will tell you about some difficulties you will face if you decide to move here. So, don't forget subscribe to my channel. Pros number one, nature. The amount of countryside in Norway all around. My favorite thing about living in Norway is countless outdoor activities. The country is so fresh and green, and it gives you an amazing access to hiking in warmer summer months, and also snowboarding or skiing and other winter sport activities during colder and darker months. This legendary Norwegian fjords landscape is truly unique, and there is always something new to explore. Even if you live in one of the major cities, nature is always within touching distance. I'm living in the house where you just turning around the corner and you are right in the forest, in a proper countryside. Actually, this is the first ever time in my life when I'm living outside of country's capital. I was born in Moscow, and before I moved to Norway for 10 years, I was living in London. Norway, it's all about countryside, this fantastic nature, lots of fresh air, singing birds, and this quietness.
That's amazing.
If you ask me to describe Norway, I would give you this definition. This is happiness for your lungs and your body in general. If you have any questions about living in Norway, please ask me in the comments below.
Yeah, so nature is clearly a really big part of Norwegian culture, like embracing the outdoors. If you're from Norway, how do you embrace nature? How do you embrace the outdoors? What do you do? Sports, hiking, camping? Do you embrace it? Maybe do some people just stay in the city and not really get out to the countryside or these sort of areas? Like, I'm from Scotland. I lived in Glasgow until I was my mid-20s. And honestly, I never really explored Scotland as much as I should have. I was more like a city person, city living. I prefer just staying in the city and just hanging out there. I now live in Asia, where I've lived for over 10 years, and now I regret not spending as much time in nature in Scotland as I could have. Whenever I go back, I do spend a bit more time. But tell me how you embrace nature in Norway.
You know, I'm always happy to help. The quality of life offered to citizens and residents is impressive by nearly every measure. In 2019, the World's Happiness Report ranked Norway at a solid number 3. Norway got incredibly high marks in different categories, including freedom, level of income, trust in government, social support, generosity, and many others. Life expectancy of the people living in Norway is incredibly high, 81 years. Apparently, the main reason of such a long life expectancy is how careful the people in Norway and also Norwegian government about their environment. They're trying their best to minimize their carbon footprint and also all polluting factors. Even in large cities in Norway, the air is amazing. It does feel really fresh. And also the country has dozens of beaches and coastlines which earned blue flag for the cleanliness, including a few right in the city of Oslo. Nearly 100% of Norwegians confirmed that they're very satisfied with the quality of their drinking water as well. Pros number 3.
Yeah, so tell me, I mean, first of all, tell me, where's the best beach in Norway in your opinion? I think that's probably something a lot of people don't expect when they think about Norway, is like having good beaches. But where would you say the best beach is? But with regards to general happiness Are you generally happy? Do you feel like Norway is one of the most livable places in the world? If you've been to other places, would you consider moving anywhere else, or would Norway just be the perfect place for you?
Safety in Norway is paramount. Norway is by all measures one of the safest countries in the world. In 2018, this nation, with a little bit above 5 million in population, saw only 25 murders in total. Generally speaking, violent crimes are extremely rare, and even petty crimes or crime of opportunity are not common at all. There are many places around the country where you can see unlocked bicycles parked right on the street. Kids going to school themselves without parents supervising them are also many people leave their front door unlocked. Certainly for an adult, male or female, walking alone, even at night, in many places considered to be safe, and it's a common practice. One big fat notice here, guys. I'm not forcing you to keep your front door unlocked or walk on the streets at night time checking how safe it is. Well, like in every single country, crime is more common in bigger cities rather than in smaller towns and villages.
It's life in a big city.
Are you enjoying this video?
So yeah, tell me about that, about safety in Norway as well. Do you feel like it's always safe? Is there any areas that you don't think are so safe? And do you leave your bike unlocked, your house door unlocked? I feel like, being from Scotland, we actually have similar, although there's definitely some places in the big cities that are not safe, and there's can be like a lot more trouble and things like that. Generally, people leave their doors unlocked during the day. Kids can walk to school by themselves. Like, having that is definitely a big pro of living in a country. It makes Norway a very enticing place, especially when you compare it to most other countries worldwide. I've lived in different countries and none of them would be considered that safe, like Malaysia, China, Thailand. So hearing this, Norway does sound like a very nice place to live in that respect.
Please let me know about it. Advantage number 4, principles of equality. I mentioned it in my previous video that in Norway there is no such a thing as gender discrimination. From 1980s, the proportion of women in Norwegian government remains at the level of 45%. Not to mention that the Prime Minister of Norway is a woman. No one cares in Norway if the boss is female. As long as the person is professional enough, no one gives a second thought what gender the person is. So yes, it is a clear trend in Norway that women occupy really high profile positions. Same applies to the families. Mother and father, they doing pretty much the same. They changing nappies, they packing the lunches for the kids and taking them to school or to other different activities. Also, everyone leaves the office at 4 p.m. As far as I noticed, for 1 year of living in Norway, your race and gender don't bother anyone. Even if you're a quite young female looking after a whole division around 6 Scandinavian countries, no one ever told me that I'm not male enough to handle this job.
Yeah, that's good as well. I do like that equality, especially at home. I'm the same we've got young children, and I think it's important that both the father and mother have like shared responsibilities, do everything. There's not like dad tasks or mum tasks or anything. Like, we both do everything, and I think it's best for the children in the long term. So it's really good to see Norway has that similar principle.
Number 5, salaries in Norway tend to be really good. It tends to be quite a big surprise for people immigrating to Norway how high Norwegian salaries are compared to the other countries in Europe.
You know, okay, you're right, it is huge.
There is no legal minimum salary requirement for the companies. The businesses here are really happy to pay good enough to their employees just to make them feel as a part of this community. Companies usually support their workers with different sort of benefits and other perks to motivate people to do their job really good, to keep people happy, and also to retain the best workers, of course. Norway enjoys one of the lowest differentials between the workers and the boss's pay. It's time to move to disadvantages or cons. And the first one I prepared for you, no. We will not start from this one. I will keep this one for the end. Number 1. Cost of living would be probably the most downsides of living in Norway, especially for new arrivals. The prices for grocery shopping, I would call them higher than average grocery prices in other European countries, including England, and also this habit to go out every second day, you will need to rethink it, because to go out and eat out in Norway will cost you quite a lot of money. Also, grocery shopping is 30% higher here in Norway than I used to pay in London. Just to let you know, I didn't change my eating habits much, so I'm buying pretty much the same products here as I used to buy in London. If you don't know the difference between different supermarket chains in Norway, I would highly recommend you to watch my previous video. Okay, the cost of life is quite high in Norway, but you're paying for the quality.
Quality always.
Guys, for 1 year I didn't see even one damaged apple in any of the supermarkets here. Things like cucumbers and tomatoes here in Norway have this amazing taste. Not that plasticky-ish taste
A futuristic tomato.
as I used to have in England. Hello, Tesco. I don't miss you much. So yes, you do pay the price for the quality here. All this vegetable and fruit and super fresh fish and meat, which was never familiar with antibiotics during their life cycle. Number 2.
Yeah, so that's actually good, and I guess obviously with the higher salary, it's just in line with that as well. But to hear that you actually get good quality for what you're actually paying, that makes sense. As you said, in the UK, yeah, sometimes the produce and things can not be the highest quality, especially compared to here in Asia. The quality is very hit or miss. It sometimes can be good, sometimes can be very bad. So it seems like Norway, not only you have to pay a bit more, but you get the higher salary, but it's good quality as well. And what are like the popular supermarkets in Norway? I'd maybe be interested in learning about that as well. That seems like it could be quite interesting.
Speed limit. Some people are saying that speed limits in Norway are painfully low. For example, my neighbor with Ferrari. I personally find speed limits in Norway reasonable, but let's bring the facts on. The national speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. In comparison, the national speed limit in England is 112 kilometers per hour. And any road in Norway which goes nearby the house will have a limit of 50 kilometers per hour. It's the same in England. To ensure that Norwegian drivers stick to those limits, speeding fines are based on a percentage of your income. Hello, my dear neighbor with Ferrari. And those speeding fines in Norway can be higher than the fines given to people caught with a small amount of Class A drugs. I know for many guys those speed limits can sound boring and painfully low. Hello, my dear friends from Italy and Russia.
I'm going back to Italy.
But let me give you some statistics. In 2018, Norway recorded only 108 road-related fatalities. According to ITF statistics, in December 2019, Norway was recognized as the country with the safest roads in the whole world. So you better be safe than sorry, people. Number 3.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm all for having reasonable speed limits. Safety is the most important thing in my opinion, so I like that. I like how it is lesser during the through the residential areas as well. And the part with regards to the fine being a percentage of income rather than just a fixed amount, that's something that is a really interesting debate for me. That's one I'm in favour of as well, because I feel like having a set fixed fine doesn't really discourage people who earn a lot as much, and it only really harms people who don't earn so much. So as a percentage of income is definitely a fairer way to punish people.
If you're a big
Tell me if you agree with that or not.
fan of going to the beach wearing flip-flops and shorts, this country is not for you. Norway has quite a large number of beautiful Caribbean-looking beaches. You can see the same crystal white sand and blue transparent waters, but its temperature will be really low. Don't expect to go swimming and spend in the water hours and hours and hours like people usually do in south of France or Italy. If you cannot tolerate water temperature below 10 degrees, Well, I would not recommend you to go swimming in Norway. Actually, I was told that there are some places in Norway where you can actually do windsurfing. Guys, I'm dying to go there. I'm a huge fan of crazy activities like this. The main thing to know, it's similar to if you windsurf in countries like Scotland. So it's going to be relatively cold and you need to make sure that your outfit is in line with the weather conditions. And once again, there is not such a thing as a bad weather, only inappropriate clothes. My favorite cons number 4. If you cannot give up habits like alcohol consumption or tobacco, you are in trouble in Norway. As one of you guys already told me, you will pay a high price to damage your health in Norway. And this is actually true. Everything what's unhealthy is expensive here. In Norway, you can buy alcohol in only one place, which is called Vinmonopolet. This Vinmonopolet belongs to the government. It's a chain of supermarkets which sells alcohol. Its working hours is quite interesting. Weekdays it's open until 6 p.m. Saturday it's closing at 4 p.m. and Sunday it's closed at all. And as I told you at the beginning, I saved my biggest pain for last. Guys, there is no Amazon in Norway. This is probably
Just with regards to the one about alcohol and smoking, does that discourage you, just having those sort of regulations for, I mean, with regards to alcohol, when it can be sold? Does it stop you drinking? Does it make you think twice about drinking? These days I don't really drink so much alcohol anyway, and I don't smoke, so it really actually wouldn't be a problem for me. But it's interesting that I've learned about like the sale of alcohol in Norway and other northern European countries, and there always seems to be these restrictions on it. I just wonder if it's better for the country overall. What do you think?
probably my only and my biggest frustration about living in Norway. On top of that, the post services in Norway are incredibly slow. It will take days and days for the letters to arrive. From nearby England, it took me about 2 weeks to get my card from my bank. Same card from the same bank came within 5 days when I was living in Italy. Yes, another important thing when you move to Norway and secure your apartment, make sure that you have your name written on a letter box. Otherwise, you will not get any letters. In Norway, all the deliveries coming to the person, not to the address. I used to order everything, like literally everything from Amazon in London, starting from the cosmetics, eye patches, also some clothing items, and also all my vlogging equipment. Great prices, next day delivery, excellent service, no brainer. So now, every time I'm going to London, I have a massive shopping list deliberately for Amazon and the spare luggage to bring everything back. By the way, guys, do we have a similar to Amazon service here in Norway? Please drop me a comment down below if you know anything. I will truly appreciate this information. On a positive note, the car of the local postman is so cute and it makes my day every single time when I see him delivering the mail to my house. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video, and
yeah, go subscribe to our channel. I've watched another one of her videos before and they're always like very enjoyable. And yeah, interesting, I never knew there was no Amazon in Norway. Is it, I don't know if this is an older video, maybe they've got it now. Is there another company who have similar here in Malaysia? They never had Amazon before, and then there's another couple different companies like Lazada, Shopee, which are just basically the same, but they don't have as good choice, and it's a lot of like drop shipping from China and things like that. So yeah, tell me if they have an alternative. But the pros and cons, definitely the pros far outweigh the cons in Norway. Norway just looks like a great place to live, especially where she lives. That looks like a very picturesque location, nice house and things. So tell me, in your opinion, what are the pros and cons of living in Norway, and do you just enjoy life in Norway? Thanks.